I got that animal ambition. I got that animal ambition. I got that.
Hey, Smoak here. I'm gonna be reacting to Vince McMahon selling over 8 million TKO shares, preparing to leave WWE by Cultaholic Wrestling. Yesterday, by the time I make this video, there was news out there that Vince McMahon sold his shares, his TKO shares, most likely to be on his way out. He's still like in charge of, I believe, like media distribution or something like that. Well, Vince does what's in the company, I don't mind. As long as he's not touching the product that be shown on TV and PLEs. That's all that matters to me and every other fans out there.
Vince McMahon selling over 8 million TKO shares, plus AEW part ways with a long-term star, and a New Japan star reveals WWE talks. It's all in the Cultaholic Wrestling News right now. That's right, 8 million TKO shares. That's what Vince McMahon's offloading ahead of the weekend.
An unbelievable number of shares, an unbelievable amount of money. This was
that's
talked
a
about
lot,
yesterday
bro.
by Brandon Thurston.
Like 8 million?
That the shares have a value of around $700 million. There's the finger. Go on.
He's done this before, hasn't he? Where like he's obviously, you know, we hear stories of Vince and Trips and Steph like offloading shares and stuff like that.
Never this kind of money.
Never. This is
different.
A third of the shares that Vince McMahon has in WWE.
Yeah, I mean, Triple H sold some. I think it was beginning of this year, and it was like, oh, he's bagged, was it like for $5 to $10 million? A huge amount of money, but this is unbelievable.
Interestingly, as well, Ari Emanuel and Mark Shapiro have indicated an interest in buying 1 million and 1.8 million of the shares respectively.
I can't believe I'm saying it's nothing about like $1 million to close to 2 million.
They've just reached into their pocket and gone, hang on, I've got...
Yeah, I'll take those off you.
Save
some paperwork.
Now, nothing's been confirmed in any official capacity, but the optics here look like Vince McMahon is heading out the door.
Yeah, certainly so. For this to happen so soon after the merger would certainly indicate that something is going on there. We'll keep you updated on that for sure. It's just I can't get my head around it, to be honest. He was listed as a risk factor, and I think in large part that's due to his age. He's a key player within the company, and he's an old man now.
Nothing to do with any of the other controversial stuff that he's done that might fluctuate the stock price. It
could be, but that's a fairly standard thing to do when you've got a very senior shareholder. But that probably does play into it as well. But he has been, he's been spoke about sort of very highly by other shareholders within the company, saying that he is a really sort of integral part of the business. So to be taking what is essentially maybe a bit of a step back here, curious timing.
Somebody said to me, well, if he was going, why wouldn't he get rid of all his shares? I said, because Vince McMahon to sell all of his shares in TKO would absolutely tank the share price. As it stands, by just selling off a third, the shares fell by 5.3%. Imagine if he sold the whole lot off at the same time. So we reckon this might be a case of he's gonna sell them off over time.
Yeah,
like just a third at a time.
That makes sense.
And then maybe off he goes into the sunset.
What I find just so mental about this whole thing, I spent a crazy couple of years in wrestling, is that it feels like Vince McMahon is now starting to step away from WWE. And I still can't sort of get my head around that happening, because to me, he would be there for life. And like he'd be probably going to live to the grand old age of about 180 or so. And I just thought he'll be there forever. It's his baby. And that's no longer the case. It challenges everything you think you know about a man that you obviously know nothing about, because he's so enigmatic anyway. I don't know.
It also feels a bit like he's been not hoodwinked out of the business, but because we all saw that interview that he did with Ari Emanuel, where Ari said, "Look, whatever Vince knows this industry. Whatever he says goes. And I didn't want him to leave. I was going to body slam him before he left. Ha ha ha! Hey, the deal's done. Right, Vince, Why about you step away and head off over there?
Yeah.
What's behind that? What's behind that fire exit there? Just pop through that fire exit, clunk. That's kind of what it feels like.
Listen, if anyone's watching and wants to hoodwink me to the tune of $700 million, be my guest. Be my guest. I don't think he's a loser here.
No, absolutely not. Something we will keep an eye on. I have a funny feeling in my waters this might be something that we dip back to sooner rather than later. We'll let you know more at cultaholic.com. Over in AEW, some question marks started appearing over a star that disappeared from the AEW roster page. A bit of digging from numerous sources suggests what's happened here.
That's right. People noticed late last night that the bunny had been removed from the AEW wrestling roster page. A report from PW Insider later confirmed that she is indeed done with All Elite Wrestling. Sources telling PW.
I think I've seen the bunny like a couple times, but bottom line, she haven't been on TV in a long time, bro. Again, that's just typical AEW stuff. You have these guys, you haven't seen them in months, probably a year, and you forgot they were all there. Probably doing like dark elevation stuff or something.
Inside of the two sides mutually agreed to part ways. No additional details at this time. We've not seen her wrestle on AEW since Rampage on September the 8th. Which was only the third time that she'd actually wrestled this year.
Oh, right.
Part of that, obviously, due to the injury that she suffered, an orbital bone fracture, I believe it was, in February. She's been there for an awful long time. She's been there since 2019.
That's it. She left Impact Wrestling to pursue AEW. She was actually killed off in Impact Wrestling. Like, she was killed in the dark underworld.
I'm like a
being killed off in wrestling is crazy.
It's about wrestling and stuff. And that popped up today, the injury angle that they did, and Impact put out a tweet saying it was like rest in peace.
Yo, I was looking at the tweet. I'm like, what the? I was so confused because I didn't know the background of it, but even so, it was dumb. The way they worded it and stuff. I guess they did do it on purpose. I thought they did it by accident when I seen a tweet talking about the memory of the bunny, yada yada. I'm looking at the reply saying, oh man, don't do that again. Oh man, you could have worded it differently, blah, blah, blah. But I guess with these guys explaining it with the storyline a while back, I guess it makes sense.
Yeah.
I almost cacked my pants this morning. Oh man, that's horrible. And I was like, I remember that. That's why they've used that picture I was old. Yeah, that makes more sense. I think she was really, really talented, and I'd have liked to have seen a bit more of her on TV. But at the same time, it's not a massively surprising exit from the company, I guess. They just hadn't been using her, had they? No,
she could have done so much more outside of the stuff she did with the Butcher and the Blade. There's a real opportunity here for Impact / TNA. Rosemary, and it's now Courtney Rush. If we wanted to bring Rosemary back, we can bring Ali back from the underworld.
Not a bad shout.
Any other company with that sort of creative in their hands, I'd be worried. I think Impact could have some fun with that.
Yeah, sure.
Yes.
I've seen interviews with her, and she said that she really loved her time there, so it wouldn't surprise me to see her go back at all.
Absolutely not. So last night, just before Ring of Honor aired, we caught wind of the fact that there would be an announcement regarding the future of the ROH television title, just thrown down by Samoa Joe at the end of the longest reign ever. And the announcement was... But there's an announcement next week.
Who'd have thunk it? Tony Khan with a huge announcement saying that he's going to address the now vacated Ring of Honor television title on next week's show. What do you think he's going to say?
It's going to be a tournament, isn't it? It's going to be a flipping eliminator tournament. We're going to crown a new ROH TV champion in an eliminator tournament to see who the best one is, and it'll probably be won by Keith Lee, who should have won the match in the first place. For God's sake, what am I doing? If they just use it as a chance to say farewell to the ROH TV title, fine.
Mm-hmm. Because that, you know what, that makes it a bit more palatable. Samoa Joe getting rid of the belt, like you wouldn't want Keith Lee to win it and then go, actually, we're vacating it. Samoa Joe's just had the longest reign ever. I don't think it really helped anyone, but if they are getting rid of the belt, then fair enough.
I don't think what Tony Khan is doing with Ring of Honor. They should make Ring of Honor a developmental system like how WWE has NXT. AEW have Dark and Dark Elevation on YouTube. It seems like it's to develop younger talent, not in a sense of like NXT style, but like as if they were training in a performance center. Because the matches on that show is not long at all. They'd be like 5 minutes, 4 minutes. Probably the highest be like 8 to 10 minutes. right? If you want to keep that, go ahead. But you're better off having Ring of Honor as the developmental system, bro. Like, come on. Like Athena, why is she in Ring of Honor? I assume the pay is much less than AEW itself.
Fair enough, but I think you're probably right. He loves a tournament.
He loves
I think it'll be
an
a
eliminator
tournament.
tournament.
We'll see.
We're going to find out.
A regular tournament would be fine. Why be an eliminator?
A debut and an announcement of a debut. Myron Reed is back with the Rascals, joining forces with Zachary Wentz and Trey Miguel on Impact last night. So this isn't his first rodeo with the lads. He was one of the earlier members of the Rascals back when they were in CZW in 2018. Was Myron Reed, and then and they went off and did Impact without him. He went off and became MLW champion. Now, this year alone, Myron Reed and Trey Miguel won indie title, the Insane Wrestling Revolution tag titles. So he's kind of been like a Rascals member on the periphery. Mm-hmm. He's on the periphery no longer. He was on Impact last night for the first time.
Gotcha. Good for him.
Yeah.
I'm not going to pretend to know much about him. I've seen 2 matches of his, Tom, and I thought he was very good. What's his gimmick? What's he about?
Well, it's going to join up with the Rascals. They're going to be causing trouble, spray painting belts, and having a lovely time. I think they're a really nice trio to add to Impact. I think that,
and he's signed, is he?
Yes. Well, yes. I don't know his official status. The fact that he's on TV suggests that they might be
using him going
signed
forward,
or maybe doing a little bit of both.
Okay.
But I think it's just I love what the Rascals have been doing. I feel like maybe lost their way after losing the belts. So this kind of gives, and they've kind of addressed that in storyline as well. So putting Myron Reed in the mix there's a really nice one. And a New Japan star is debuting for Impact at Final Resolution. Who are we talking about, Adam?
This is a big one. This is a big one. It's ZSJ, Jack Sabre Jr. making his Impact Wrestling debut at Final Resolution, Saturday, December the 9th, teaming with Josh Alexander to face the Motor City Machine Guns in tag team action. That's going to be bonkers. That's going to be a very, very good match. I'm so happy for Impact to be getting these absolutely massive names lately. Everybody seems super keen to work there.
Now, it's not strictly Zack Sabre Jr.'s first dance in Impact Wrestling. It was back at the Multiverse United show earlier in the year. He teamed with Shane Haste to take on Eddie Edwards and Moose. But this is definitely Zack Sabre Jr.'s first appearance in an exclusively Impact Wrestling show. I mean, Zack Sabre Jr. himself said earlier in the week in an interview with New Japan, New Japan's website, he said, I really want to go and work in Impact.
How cool is
that?
Like
mission
You
accomplished.
know what? I don't think people would have been talking about it in the same way like 3 years ago or so.
No.
I think they're on a bit of a hot streak at the moment, and I hope that picks up even more for them following the rebrand.
I think the announcement of them becoming TNA has really lit a fire.
Nostalgia's a very powerful thing, isn't it? Because you know, like Zach, growing up in the UK, he was watching on Challenge, wasn't he? Of course he was. Of course he was. So I feel like it's I don't want to say a bucket list thing. It sounds like he's close to death, but it's something that loads and loads of wrestlers want to do, especially people who grew up in the UK. Ospreay we saw recently, obviously.
Yeah. If you want to tap into that nostalgia vein, you either bring something back or take something away. The Karamak has been pulled from stores, and TNA is back in January. Those both tapping into the nostalgia vein.
Speaking of nostalgia, he's facing the Motor City Machine Guns as well. That helps, doesn't it?
Oh, and I believe this will be Alex Shelley's first Impact match since his injury in Glasgow.
Yes, it will be.
So I'm glad that it wasn't too long spent away. Another New Japan star has been chatting about having a chat with WWE.
So you might have caught some of this
Probably a woman.
from Fightful earlier. Hikuleo confirm Fightful reports that there was talk about him possibly going to WWE. He did confirm that those talks happened. He said he weighed their options about potentially leaving New Japan. However, he feels that they're supposed to be they're supposed to be where they are. When he saw the rumors of WWE interest online, he was checking his phone to make sure he hadn't told anyone that he shouldn't have told. Sap indicated that WWE sources actually informed him.
So he was worried that he might have let that slip, but WWE had said, no, we're having a chat with Hikuleo, told Fightful, and then he's like, well, I still think that there might be a point where Hikuleo does turn up in WWE. I feel like he's a fit for them.
I think, I couldn't agree more. In fact, he's a total natural fit. You can just imagine him on like Raw or SmackDown, just feeling like part of the roster straight away. Sometimes it takes a bit of getting used to, but I think you can just slot him in. And yeah, he would. I wouldn't even put him on NXT, to be honest.
No.
I'd have him straight on the main roster.
It's a good chat that Fievel has with Hikuleo. And also, in keeping with the last couple of minutes, Hikuleo also said he loved working in Impact. No stress in the locker room, no politics that he saw. He'd love to return and work with them again, as well as other companies in the US.
Nice. Can you get me a job next? Can you
Come
put
on,
in a word?
Impact, mate.
I want to wrestle.
Oh my God, yes!
I want to wrestle.
Martin Kirby, let's make it happen.
Yeah, why not?
Let's bring him in.
On,
next UK tour. Next UK tour. Scott.
No, don't, because you'll make it happen. I'm too old and fat now, Tom, aren't I?
I mean, it was a COVID. For the guy that going to WWE from New Japan Wrestling, he's most likely to go to NXT. Only because, like, to showcase NXT more as a show to watch. Because it's on network TV. They did the same thing with Dragon Lee, who went to NXT recently. But he was there for like a few months. Like maybe 3 months or something. And then he went off to us officially now on SmackDown. For Impact Wrestling, I can't say nothing about that. I don't watch Impact Wrestling. I don't got the network. If I did, I would have tuned in on Thursdays. I haven't watched Impact Wrestling in years. I'm talking like probably like 2011. It was on Spike. Because I didn't watch it when it was on Pop. And I think I had Pop at the time too. Thanks for watching. Peace. I'm out.